Make sure the necklace is completely straight for perfectly symmetrical viewing pleasure. Or something like that, I don't know. G'day everyone. If you're new here, my name's Sam. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. If you clicked on this video, you'll know that this is Yoga for Strength, a series where we work to build off the areas of the practice where we can work on our physical strength, and then we try to find some workarounds for the areas of the practice where it's actually not as possible to build physical strength in the yoga practice. This particular practice, we will be utilizing 2 blocks for a little bit of extra resistance. Also to play with some energetics, so imagining we were moving the blocks in one direction or another to see what different activation we feel in the muscles, what different sensations we feel in the body. So just giving us an extra layer of focus to help build some more strength. What do you reckon? Does that sound good to you? If it does, please enjoy the video. If you're not already, subscribe. It really does help. I do look at the analytics. I do see that 60% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. It would mean so much to me if you would just press that button. Particularly today, because it's super duper windy outside and it's been quite an ordeal setting up the filming. I've got to be honest, there's sounds coming in from the roof, under the doors. Pressing the subscribe button will somehow, some way counteract all the wind that's going on. It will, it just really will. So, thank you. And we're going to start in a kneeling position, coming back to Vajrasana. Just letting the palms face down on top of the thighs, closing the eyes for a moment. Just an opportunity to find your breath. I don't know how the weather is where you are right now watching this video, but I must say here in Sydney, Australia, the wind is quite hectic outside. And as such, it's been quite an ordeal to set everything up for filming. Not that I'm complaining, no way at all, but I guess you can liken it to when perhaps you might be in a rush getting to a yoga class. You may enter a little bit frazzled. It may take a moment longer to find your center and to balance the breath, but once you do, that stark contrast or juxtaposition between the frantic rush and the calm settling is really apparent. Sometimes it's quite nice to lift the shoulders up towards the ears and really, really breathe in. As you exhale, feel the shoulders soften down, a sign of relief. Do that again. Breathe in fully, lift the shoulders. Exhale, we drop them down. Nice work. Blink the eyes open if you haven't already. I'm going to start with side bends, so whilst I'm facing you, I'm going to act as your mirror. So you'll take your right fingertips or palm down off the right-hand side of the body, reach the left arm up and overhead, and take it off towards the right-hand side of the room. So stretching out through the left-hand side of the body here. If you want to, you could take your left hand to the back of the head and let the elbow point up towards the ceiling. If you have more space, you could let your right elbow drop down to the floor, really opening up through left side body and breathing as though all that breath was going into the left side lung, the left side waist, feeling that space. Inhale and push through that right hand, coming back through center and then setting off to the other side. So left hand grounds down. You can take the elbow down if that's comfortable, reach the arm up and over to the left hand side, or maybe take the hand, rest it to the back of the neck. Feel the elbow point up. If you're completely falling off, you can push into that left hand more, so you can still feel both sitting bones equally grounded onto your heels. Take a breath. And pushing through the left hand, we'll come back through center. So we're going to get set up for downward facing dog. We're going to place the blocks underneath our hands in downward facing dog. So just pop them on the lowest height. And this is so we can just get a little bit more of an energetic feeling when our hands are on the mat. Oftentimes when we just have the hands slapping down onto the mat, we can sort of forget about them. We know that they're pushing away from the floor, but other than that, we might not pay them too much mind. So when we're in downward facing dog today, what we're going to do is have the heel of the hand hanging off the back edge of the block, so that when we press up and downward facing dog, there's an energetic pushing forwards. So you're imagining that you're trying to push those blocks towards the top of the mat, and then in doing so, you might feel the hips rise a little bit higher, the tailbone rise a little bit higher. Of course, if you want to pedal out the feet, you absolutely can. Alternatively, if you're happy where you are, then you just find that stillness. Heels hiding slightly behind the balls of the feet. So you might feel the heels spin out slightly. Thighs engaged. As the tailbone rises, chest moves back towards the thighs. Biceps wrap forwards. Press into the blocks. Take a breath. As we start to move, we elevate or shrug the shoulders. We lift up high on the toes. Because we have the blocks underneath the hands, as we step forward, we have more space. Maybe the palms can stay flat. At this time, as you lift halfway, just hang your fingertips off the top edge of the blocks. Imagine you're pushing them to the back of the mat. Breathe in your halfway lift. As you exhale, palms flat on the blocks. Imagine you are pushing the blocks forwards to fold deeper over the front of the thighs. So there'll be a lot of these pushing and pulling energetic movements against the blocks today, just to give us a little extra layer of focus, just to feel some different muscles activating in the body. Take a breath. We'll roll up through standing. Embrace the roll, so bend the knees round through the spine as you rise. Once the head lifts, circle arms out wide, reach them tall, up and overhead. Breathe in. Exhale, draws the palms through center. You come past Tadasana, taking a breath there. And then as we work to move again, the inhale rises the arms up and overhead. The exhale folds us heavy over the front of the thighs. Energetically blocks pushing forwards during the halfway lift. During the fold, I should say, my apologies. And during the halfway lift, fingertips off the top edge, energetically blocks pushing backwards. And from this space, your right foot is going to stay right where it is. We're going to pick up the left leg and extend it back behind us. It's going to stay hovering for a moment as we just bend in to the right knee here. So we're working to find a stability and a grounding through that right leg. You're just reaching those left toes back. The more you sit into that right thigh, the more you'll feel the right rib cage rest against the right thigh. Still energetically pushing those blocks backwards to guide the chest further forwards. Take a breath. From here, gently touch the left toes to the back, drop the back knee down. I'm going to keep the back toes tucked under as we rise for Anjaneyasana, or low crescent moon lunge. Once the arms reach over the head, let your right hand catch hold of your left wrist. As the hips continue to move forward, we're going to reach the left arm up as we breathe in. As we exhale, we're going to start to side bend off to the right-hand side of the room. Trying to avoid twisting, so chest and hips still square to the front of the room. Flexing into your left glutes and feel as though the arms are moving behind the head rather than falling in front. Take an inhale. Keep those back toes tucked under. We got one more breath here. Breathe in. Gently coming back through center. Take the arms out wide to either side of the room. Without using the hands for a moment, we're just going to send the hips back, straighten through the right leg. As the right thigh engages, we're going to fold the torso over the length of the thigh, and then hands are going to find the block. I'm going to try two different movements here and see what they feel like. First, hang the heel of the hand off the back edge, and as you push the blocks forwards, see what that feels like. You might feel a tendency or an urge to pull the right heel back with you as well. So try that as you push the blocks forward, pull the right heel back towards you. See what that feels like. Breathe in. And then to shift up the movement, let the fingers hang off the top edge. Imagine you're pulling the blocks backwards to draw the chest forwards. Breathe in. Exhale, we lower down. Just working to understand that difference between push and pull, different sensations, different activation. Not necessarily looking for a right or wrong, just looking for an experience. I'm trying to embrace it and enjoy it. Take an inhale. And we'll slowly rise back up, hovering the hands for a moment. Back toes are still tucked under. What we're going to do is work to lift the right leg in a moment without using the hands, and then eventually we'll open the right leg out to the right hand side to take the right leg back to meet the left. What I find really helps in this, with these movements, is taking the arms out wide, almost like an acrobat on a balance beam, finding a drishti, maybe a meter or two out in front of your mat, and just trusting the process. If you fall, it's all good. You tuck under those back toes, flex the right thigh, lean back first, maybe the leg lifts, still flexing the right toes, and then slowly open the right leg out to the right hand side of the room, and gently take the right leg back to meet the left. Nice work. Send the hips back towards the heels, and just allow your torso to move back slightly, flexing into the glutes, pressing the hips forward, resting the hands on top of the thighs, just feeling a lengthening through the front psoas line of the body. Breathe in. Then hands will come down, find the blocks. We'll come through a plank pose. You want enough space between the blocks so your chest can lower down. We are going to take a push-up. So we lean forwards, we lower till the chest touches the floor, a little more range of motion. We press it straight back up. And then as we come down, we find Bhujangasana. Fingers hang off the top edge. Imagine blocks are pulling backwards as you inhale to lift your chest. Exhale, we lower, tuck the toes. We press up and back to down dog. Heel of the hand hangs off the back edge of the block, energetically pushing blocks forwards. From here, shuffle toes so they touch. It's the left leg that's going to rise. As the left leg rises, imagine you are squeezing or hugging the inner thighs towards each other, and imagine your left hip was trying to lower just a little more than your right. In doing so, the outer seam of the right hip will get a little more length down through the glute med, the ITB, through the outside of that leg, pressing your left heel back, pushing the blocks forward to give you a little more length. Take a breath. You're going to lower the left leg to meet the right. Shrug the shoulders, looking forwards. Inhale, lifts heels and bends knees. Exhale, gentle hop. Taking the legs between the arms. Inhale, halfway lift, fingertips pulling blocks backwards. Exhale, fold, palms pushing blocks forward. Roll up through standing. Let the arms rise over the head as you inhale. Exhale brings you through Tadasana, arms drop down by the side. Move again. Inhale's the climb. Exhale to fold. Don't know what's going on. It's a little hard to speak today. You ever have one of those days? Inhale, lift the chest up halfway. This time left foot stays where it is. We pick up the right leg, extend it back, but we bend into the left knee. Using fingertips off the front edge, pushing blocks backwards to lengthen chest forwards. Keep reaching back through the right toes. Keep finding a little more depth in this left leg. Take a breath. Exhale, touching back towards the lunge, dropping the back knee down, letting the arms rise overhead. Keeping back toes tucked. Left hand will catch hold of the right wrist or forearm here. Hips move forwards first. Inhale, right arm rises. Exhale, bend off to the left hand side. Shoulders, hips square to the front of the room. Avoiding the twist. Trying to move the arms behind the head as the hips melt forward. And 2 breaths here, breathe in. One more. As we come back through center, arms move out to either side without using the hands. Send the hips back, straighten through the left leg. Then as you fold over the thigh, you take your time. Eventually blocks meet the hands, or hands meet the blocks. See? Told you Talking is hard. When you're coming down, we're going to work through those two different sensations. So first, heel of the hand off the back edge. You're pushing the blocks forwards. As you do, you're trying to pull the left heel backwards. A little more intense through the lower half of the hamstring towards the back of the knee, and even a little bit in the calf if you continue to flex the left toes towards you. And then if we hang our fingers off the top edge of the block, lift the chest halfway, and imagine we were pulling the blocks backwards to lift the chest. You might feel this a little more in the upper part of the hamstring in towards the glute. Take an in-breath. And lift our torso back up. Hovering the hands, remember that acrobat on a balance beam. Flex the left quad, arms out wide. Drishti a meter or two off the top edge of the mat. And just trust yourself here. We lean back. We see if that left leg can hover. One side's always a little better than the other, so just play with it. Open the leg out towards the left-hand side. Whoop, and take the left leg back to meet the right. If you tap the floor along the way, cool, so did I. Take the hands to support the low back here, toes stay tucked. I'm going to press the hips forward, roll the shoulder blades back, lift the chest. You never want your yoga teacher or your online yoga practices to be too polished, right? Because life isn't polished. We stumble, we fall all the time, it's completely natural. Every single person does it. We've got to keep it real, right? Take an inhale. Thighs press back. Return the hands towards the blocks. We'll find our plank pose. Once you come into your plank, nothing changes in the torso. We just let both heels fall to the right-hand side. Try to wrap under that right hip as much as you can. Press the pelvis towards the left edge of the mat. Keep moving the chest forwards. Each time you exhale, imagine contracting your right side, waist your right side obliques just a little bit more. Breathe in. Come back through center. Nothing changes through the torso. Both heels spin off to the left. Wrapping left hip under, firming glutes, pressing pelvis towards the right edge of the mat, pushing through the palms, sending the chest forward. Breathe in. And bring it back through center. Take your push-up, chest finds the floor. Press it straight back up. This time we just lower halfway, find chaturanga on your blocks, be there for a moment, and then roll on to the tops of the feet as you straighten the arms. Feel the chest rise, feel the opening through the front body, particularly the front of the hips there. Breathe in. Exhale, hips rise up and back. Heel of hand off the back edge, blocks pushing forwards. Toes to touch, right leg rises. Inner thighs hug. Right hip tries to drop a little more. As you push through the right heel, could the left heel get a little lower to the floor? Could you really feel the triceps activating as you press your arms to straight? Could you feel the legs wobbling as you energetically squeeze those thighs together? Take an inhale. Exhale, we come back down. Right foot to meet the left. Elevate the shoulder blades. Look forwards. Inhale, lifts the heels, bends the knees. Exhale gently. Hop towards the top. Fingers off the top edge. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold, push the blocks forward. Inhale, just take a halfway lift here. Keep the palms flat on the mat if you can, or flat on the blocks. From here we work to take that hop back to chaturanga. We're going to try to land with a bend in the elbows. So once you feel the feet rise, you bend the elbows. If you want to cut out the middleman, you get low, bend the knees, bend the elbows first. So you can start from this low position. It's just a matter of leaning forwards and sliding the feet back. Nice. Lower the chest towards the floor. Hang the fingers off the top edge. Taking a cobra pose, tops of feet ground. Pulling the blocks backwards, lifting the chest. Breathe in. Exhale, chest lowers down. Nice. Palms press flat. tuck the toes. We're going to press up and back to downward facing dog. Keeping hands on the blocks. In a moment, we're going to work the jump through to sit on the floor, so we shorten the stance a little. We trust the strength of our arms here to stay straight. We push away from the floor. If you're newer to the jump through, I would maybe suggest putting the blocks on the second height. If you want to challenge yourself, you keep them where they are. You look forward. Inhale's going to lift the heels and bend the knees. Exhale's going to deliver the legs forward through the arms. Nice work. We need one of our blocks here. It's going to rest just above the feet. Now you're flexing the feet and trying to keep them together. And where the block, hopefully, is going to stay exactly where it is. So you bring the knees into chest. You let the feet hover. You find a shavasana-like setup here. Remember, this block is just wobbling there, so you're going to try and keep it nice and steady. Lower the back down. And as best you can, you're going to lengthen the legs out in front of you. If you do that along the way and it feels as though the low back lifts, then you just bend the knees back in. But if you can stay there with the legs straight, heels hovering, and low back on the ground, that's where we're going to hang out. Arms reaching forwards. We're here for 10, for 9, flex the feet, 8, for 7, 6, my goodness, I'm shaking 2 for 5, 4, 3, 2. Now on 1, you re-bend the knees, draw them into chest, you rock back up to a seat. You let the feet ground, wrap the arms around the knees, drop the head down for a moment. And lucky us, we're going to do that again. We're going to spice it up a little more. It's going to get a little more creative. So you're going to grab your block. This time it's going to go skinny ways. So the skinniest side is going to go between the thighs. Energetically, the thighs are going to hug in towards each other. That's what's going to keep the block exactly where it is. Now we just do exactly what we did before. Lower the back down. Legs extend out long. This is where it gets more fun. Torso is going to stay as it is. We're going to roll off onto the outside edge of the left hip. Keep the arms and chest reaching forward. Crunch to feel the right side oblique start to contract. It's 1, 2. Try and let this happen from the torso. 3, for 4, 5. Keep the feet flexing. 6, for 7, 8, 9, and 10. Come back through center first. Don't panic. We have another side to go. Fall on the outside edge of the right hip. Keep arms and chest reaching forward. We crunch. 4, 1. I gave you 1 extra on the other side. I had to do an extra here too. For 3, 4. Legs stay the same. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Roll back through center. Don't panic. Low back grounded. Feet are hovering. Take one last breath. And collapse. Mamma mia. Always a moment of contemplation after the core work. I'm going to remove the block gently from between the thighs. Just pop it off to the side. Bend up the knee. I'm going to work towards bridge pose. So as the feet ground underneath the knee, you lift the hips, roll the shoulder blades back, maybe finding a bind, interlacing hands behind the back, if that's available. Energetically pushing the heels forwards to lift the hips up, but also move the chest back towards the chin. So the chest moving back towards the chin is different to the chin pulling in towards the chest. So energetically moving in all different directions. Feet are moving forwards, hips are rising up, chest is moving back. So you imagine this radiating circle outward of energy. Breathe in. Gently release the hips down. A moment to do nothing. Just take the arms out wide for a moment, let them rest down. Back grounded on the mat, shoulder blades flat. In a moment we take that roll up towards malasana that we've been practicing. If it is your first time here, arms are going to reach back. We work to take the knees towards the armpits. So as we bring knees into chest, notice back is still flat. To get knees to armpits, spine rolls up and off the mat. And then we move at the same time, arms and legs. We lift the hips off the mat. We find a long spine. We let the triceps, the meaty part of the tricep above the elbow, rest on the knee. See what that connection feels like. So in this variation of malasana, we're trying to envision what it's going to be like in our crow pose variation in just a moment. Ribs and thighs stay connected. Heels and bottom stay nice and close. Triceps and knees stay nice and close. So if you want to play, make sure you got a little mat in front of you. So even if you don't, if you're shuffling backwards, try to keep ribs and thighs connected, triceps and knees connected, just so you just know what it feels like to have that connection. Energetically, as you start to move forwards, elbows hug in, thighs hug in, heels squeeze to bottom, and you're feeling as though the thumbs are drawing towards each other. That's going to engage the chest a little bit more too. So you want to feel steady here. We're going to be here for 5, 4, for 3, 2, on 1. Take it back to chaturanga. Take a push up. Didn't think that was coming, did you? Lower down onto the floor. Pull through Bhujangasana. Inhale. Exhale. Press up and back to downward facing dog. Nice work. Feet together. Inhale, right leg rises. No more blocks, but you know the action. You're pushing forwards. Exhale, lands the right foot just behind the right wrist. Coming towards warrior 1. Pull forwards first. Imagine fingertips off the top edge of the block. So feel the chest draw forwards. And the arms rise high. Deep in that front right thigh. Palms pressed together gently without fingers interlacing or thumbs hooking. Look up or even close the eyes. Take a breath. Stay for the exhale. Without using the hands, turn to the left. Come to Skandasana. Toes wider than the heels. Bend in to the left knee. Keep both feet flat for a moment. You can take the arms out wide here and keep the hands towards the heart. The choice is yours. If it feels good for you, you want to take it deeper. Right hand catches the left ankle, right elbow finds the floor, left arm reaches up towards the sky. Breathe in. Nice work. Come back through center. Let the arms lift again. Now lift your right toes off the mat. Keep bending into the left knee, so get nice and low. That's it. Arms reach out in front. We're not going to overthink this next part. On an exhale, we're going to press through the left leg and lift up and down. So breathe in at the bottom. Exhale, press up and down off the left leg. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, press up and down. One more time. Breathe in. Exhale, press up and down. Nice one. Now use the hands. You're going to come towards a lunge at the top of the mat. Back knee is on the ground. If you need a little support under the left knee, you can fold over the left edge of your mat for a little more support. From this space, take your left hand onto the left hip. Let the right hand rest on top of the right thigh. Now, if you can take this further, I'm going to reach back, squeeze the left heel to bum, catch the inside of the foot, and trying to wrap your toes, or your fingers rather, over the toes to draw the left shoulder forward, to draw the left heel in towards the bottom, to use an exhale to draw the navel in, then reach your right arm up. If you're here, look up to the right hand. If you're there, close your eye. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself more than you normally would. See what's available. Trust yourself. Breathe in. Exhale, right hand returns to the right thigh. You lean forwards gently to release the back leg. Now, coming towards Ardha Hanuman. If you have a little more space, you want to take it deeper, you could take the right leg a little further forward, or you could keep moving the left knee backwards. Now, I quite like in Hanuman or Ardha Hanuman to use the blocks underneath the hands That way, when you move into a deeper variation, you're not folding forwards in the torso anymore. It's taking more of a back bend-like quality. You're drawing right heel back towards you. You're pressing off the ball of the left foot to wrap the left hip forwards. Like cobra pose, you're rolling shoulder blades onto the back to lift the chest up. Flexing into the left glutes to allow the front of the left hip to lengthen safely. A little bit more. Take a breath. One more. Breathe in. And you want to see just how gently you can take right leg back to meet the left. Sit back on the heels. A couple of calming breaths, just like we did at the beginning of practice. Let everything slow down. We're going to take ourselves back to our last downward facing dog. That's a lie. Our second last downward facing dog. Second last and last, they're pretty close, right? Take the feet together. Let's find a breath together. Breathe in. Let it out. Left leg rises up and back as you breathe in. Exhale, left foot lands behind the left wrist. You set up for your warrior one. As you sit deep, imagine fingers were pushing the blocks back. As you rise, palms press together gently. Left thigh hugging towards the midline, right hip wrapping forwards, gazing up or closing the eyes. Take an in-breath. Without using the hands, we turn around to the right. Feet wider than the heels. Toes wider than the heels. Both feet are flat. You lean the bottom back behind you, the chest out in front. Hands stay hovering, or if you have more, left hand towards the right ankle, left elbow towards the floor, right arm towards the ceiling. Flex into the left thigh here. Take an in-breath. Come back through center, the chest lifts. Left toes rise off the mat. We sit deep into the right thigh. Again, no overthinking. It's the exhale that moves us here. Breathe in. Exhale. We press up and lower back down. These are never fun. That's why we're doing them together. Breathe in. Exhale. And lower. Last one. Breathe in. Exhale. We lower down. Hands for support. Come towards a lunge at the top of your mat. Back knee is grounded. If support is required, fold over the right edge of your mat. Left hand on the left thigh, right hand on the right hip. Little lean forwards first. If you're taking it deeper, we reach back to catch the inside of the foot. Try to wrap 4 fingers over the top of the toes. That grip switch is always confusing, but you want it to feel like how it would feel if you were holding a gear stick in a car. Right shoulder wraps forward. Keep drawing. And right heel in. Maybe the left arm climbs. If it does, so too the gaze. And if you've shifted the gaze, play with closing the eye. Last inhale. Return left hand onto left thigh. Lean forwards if you've got hold of the foot. Gently let it go. As you come back towards your Ardha Hanuman or your deeper Hanuman variation. Blocks are there if you need them. If you don't, cool. It's all good. Just try to match a similar setup to what you had on the right hand side. That's not to say that they're going to be completely even. I know for myself it feels like I could fit a skyscraper underneath my left hip when I come to Hanuman here on the left hand side. But that's cool. All good in the hood, doesn't matter. Shoulder blades roll back, chest is lifting. Pulling left heel towards you, pressing into ball of right foot to wrap right hip forwards. That pulling back on the left heel too is going to activate the left hamstring more, so it's not just a passive stretch, but instead you've got a little bit of hamstring activation. And for example, I tore my left hamstring about 6 months ago whilst running, and passive stretching does not help a torn hamstring, but concentric contraction or shortening, strengthening of the muscle does. And it's really challenging to concentrically contract the hamstring in the yoga practice because it is a pulling muscle. And we don't have anything to pull against. We just have the floor. So you pull energetically that left heel backwards. You might feel that, you might not. Take a breath. And as you come out of the pose, you try to gently take your left leg back to meet your right. We'll untuck the toes here. Sit the hips back on the heels. Nice. I hope you're working up a little bit of a sweat. I know that I am. I said before that it was our last down dog. Then I retracted my statement and told you it was the second last. Now we're coming to our last. The reason I forgot is because this one is just a transition to jump through and get our bottom onto the floor. So you can do it from downward facing dog. You can also do it nice and low just by tucking under the toes and coming from this position. So the jump from downward facing dog is often scary, and I know students often get a little frightened because they think you have to jump up really high. So coming to it from this position just shows you that you do not need to jump higher. It's the action of bringing the thighs and the ribs close towards each other, of trusting the length in the arms, and just working to deliver the legs forward. So you can come to downward facing dog, or you can stay nice and low and just deliver the legs through. Keep the blocks just outside the hips, halfway between the knees and the bottom. Energetically, you're going to push the blocks forwards. As you flex the feet, we're going to hover the feet off the mat. Shoulder blades are drawing apart, pushing the blocks forward. Feet are shaking, legs are shaking. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. Let the heels ground down. Fold over the thighs for a moment. Keep your hands where they are. Think chaturanga, so hug the elbows in. In a moment, what we're going to do is keep the heels on the ground, push to straighten the arms, and see if we could lift the bottom off the mat. We're going to do that on an exhale. Take an in breath. Exhale, press down. Lift the bottom. Be here for 5. Flex the feet. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower yourself down. Take the back of your hands under the blocks for the moment and just clench the fist gently and open the hands a couple of times. So we have one more little strength-based aspect, and that is to attempt to press down into the blocks and lift the bottom and the thighs and the feet, essentially everything, off the mat. So what I like to reiterate all the time when it comes to front body compression, which is this motion, front body compression, ribs and thighs moving nice and close, and adding a lift into that, trying to lift anything off the floor, is we need to exhale. We need to exhale to engage all the muscles of the abdominals to give us more stability. And the legs are heavy. They're really, really heavy. So you flex the thighs, you flex the feet. You lean forwards to prepare, take an in-breath, and it'll be the exhale that lifts us. Give it a try. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, who cares? Chaturanga arms. Inhale, lean forward. Exhale, we press down. Maybe we lift. We're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. As you come on down, fold over your thighs. If you know you have a little more depth in your fold, you can take 1 block or 2, rest the block just on the ball of the foot. What I want you to experience here is the ball of the big toe pressing into the block. So imagine you're trying to press your big toes forwards, but wrap your pinky toes back towards you. That'll flatten out the feet. In doing so, you could bend your elbows and pull yourself down a little more. One last breath. Gently. As you roll back up, set your blocks off to the side. Come down onto your back. Bring your right knee with you. Give it a squeeze when you get there, and just allow your right knee to twist off towards the left-hand side. Spread the arms out wide. Pull the low back ground onto the mat. Take a full breath here. As you come back through center, readjust the hips, extend the right leg, giving left knee a gentle squeeze in towards the chest, and allowing left leg to melt off towards the right. Taking a full breath in. Taking yourself back through center. Allowing yourself to prepare. Come down towards stillness. And the stillness is always an opportunity for you to stay as long as you have today. You don't have to arise just as the video finishes. It's your opportunity to honor yourself. Honor the time you have today, honor the space you have today. If you can stay a little longer, why not? Acknowledge the effort you've put in today. Be proud of yourself. Embrace the opportunity to be still. Notice where the mind goes. Guide it back to the gentle flow of your breath. And enjoy. As always, it's been my pleasure practicing with you today. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Peace.